First Contact and Pride's Folly. The Xerix flagship emerged from hyperspace in a flash of crimson light, its crystalline hull refracting sunlight across Earth's atmosphere like a cosmic prism. Admiral Sarah Chen stood at the central command station of Orbital Defense Platform Alpha, her dark eyes fixed on the massive vessel that dwarfed anything humanity had publicly revealed to the cosmos. Multiple signatures detected. Admiral, Lieutenant Park reported, his fingers dancing across the holographic interface. 5 more vessels decelerating at the lunar orbit. Energy readings are significant. Chen allowed herself a small smile. The Xerix Confederation had finally arrived, just as the quantum predictions had suggested they would. For decades, humanity had prepared for this moment, carefully orchestrating the appearance of a relatively young spacefaring civilization, while their true capabilities remained hidden in underground facilities and secret orbital shipyards. The main display flickered to life, revealing a tall, ethereal figure. The Xerix ambassador's translucent skin pulsed with bioluminescent patterns, a sign of authority among their species. When it spoke, its words were precisely translated, each syllable carrying the weight of assumed superiority. People of Earth, I am High Commander Vix of the Xerix Confederation. Your world has been chosen for integration into our Grand Alliance. Your technological progress, while primitive, shows promise. Submit to our guidance, and we shall elevate your species. Chen exchanged glances with General Marcus Rodriguez, her counterpart from Earth's public military forces. They had rehearsed this moment countless times, but the reality still sent a chill down her spine. Everything would depend on their next moves. High Commander, Rodriguez responded, his voice carrying just the right mix of awe and uncertainty. Your arrival is unexpected. We will need time to consult with Earth's nations. Surely you understand that such a momentous decision cannot be made hastily. The bioluminescent patterns on Vix's skin shifted to a deeper hue. You misunderstand, humans. This is not a negotiation. You have 2 standard rotations to submit your formal acceptance. Resistance would be unfortunate. The transmission ended abruptly. Chen waited exactly 30 seconds before activating her quantum-encrypted neural link to the hidden command center beneath the Mariana Trench. Initialize Protocol Shadowkeeper. All stealth facilities on standby. And get me a direct line to the Council. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, in a facility unknown to 99.9% of Earth's population, the Emergency Council convened. 12 holograms flickered to life around Chen's projected image, representing the leaders of humanity's true power structure. They've taken the bait, Chen reported. The Xerix believe exactly what we wanted them to believe. Our surface technology, our visible military assets, they see us as easy prey. Counselor Zhang, her aged face lined with concern, leaned forward. And you're certain they don't detect the quantum shield grid, the stealth yards at Titan? Positive, Chen confirmed. Our tech is generations ahead of their scanning capabilities. They see what we want them to see. A species just beginning to reach for the stars. Pride comes before the fall, Counselor Patil mused, his hologram flickering slightly. And the Xerix have pride in abundance. The question is, do we reveal our true strength now, or wait for them to make the first aggressive move? Chen's response was interrupted by a priority alert. Lieutenant Park's voice carried across both the orbital platform and the council chamber. Admiral, the Xerix fleet is launching probes, hundreds of them, directed at every major city on Earth. Let them come, Chen said, her voice hardening. Let them think they're dealing with a primitive species scrambling to respond to their superior technology. When they strike, and they will strike, we'll show them why humanity has survived every catastrophe we've ever faced. The probes streaked through Earth's atmosphere, their crystalline structures similar to their parent ships. They were beautiful, in their way, and completely blind to the quantum defense grid they passed through, their scans recording only what humanity wanted them to see. In the following hours, The Xerix fleet maintained their position, their presence casting both literal and figurative shadows over the planet. Earth's public governments made a show of emergency meetings and panicked communications, while beneath the surface, humanity's true military force waited with practiced patience. Message from High Command Vix, Park announced as the 48th hour approached. They're demanding our answer. Chen straightened her uniform, nodding to Rodriguez. It was time for the next phase. The general's hologram appeared before the Xerix fleet, his expression appropriately nervous. High Commander, we require more time. Our nations are still debating. Your time is expired. Vix interrupted, the patterns on their skin now pulsing an angry red. We offered you civilization. You respond with delay tactics. Perhaps a demonstration of our power will help you understand your situation more clearly. The largest Xerix vessel turned its bow toward Earth's moon. Energy began to collect at its forward arrays, building to levels that would have terrified a truly primitive civilization. Chen watched the power readings climb, keeping her expression neutral even as she activated a private channel to the hidden fleet waiting in quantum space. All ships maintain stealth protocol, she subvocalized. Let them make their statement. When they realize their mistake, we'll make ours. The Xerix weapon fired, a beam of concentrated plasma that could shear a small planet in half. It struck the moon's surface, and for a moment, the night side of Earth was bright as day. When the light faded, a crater 50 kilometers wide scared the lunar surface. A small demonstration, Vix announced, satisfaction evident in their tone. Your moon will survive. Your cities would not. You have one final chance to submit. Chen closed her eyes for a moment, thinking of all the years of preparation, the generations of humans who had worked in secret to prepare for this moment. When she opened them, her decision was made. Council, she transmitted. I believe it's time to educate the Xerix about humanity's first rule of survival. And what rule is that, Admiral? Councillor Zhang asked, though they all knew the answer. Chen's smile was sharp as a blade. Never mistake patience for weakness. Initiate Protocol Starkler. Let's show our visitors why every other alien species that secretly scanned Earth turned around and left. Deep beneath the Earth's oceans, buried in the heart of mountains, and hidden in the shadows of gas giants throughout the solar system, humanity's true power began to wake. The game of pretend was over, and the Xerix Confederation was about to learn why humanity had survived every extinction-level threat it had ever faced. The Hidden Shield. The Xerix fleet never saw the first counterattack coming. As their sensors monitored Earth's primitive defense satellites and tracked the panicked movements of surface ships, quantum space itself shifted around them. All stealth units, execute pattern Echo. Admiral Chen commanded from her true command center, a massive facility hidden within Saturn's rings. The holographic display showed hundreds of ships materializing around the Xerix fleet, each one bristling with technology that humanity had kept hidden for decades. High Commander Vix's next transmission came instantly, their bioluminescent patterns chaotic with confusion. What deception is this? Your species does not possess quantum phase technology, AI integration, dark matter drives. Chen interrupted, allowing herself a small smile. You'd be surprised what humans possess, Commander. We've been watching your Confederation for years, hiding our true capabilities because we hoped you'd prove to be better than this. The human fleet's black hulls seemed to absorb starlight itself, their quantum shield matrices giving them a ghostly, ethereal appearance. Each vessel represented the pinnacle of human engineering, not the carefully curated image of primitive spacecraft they'd shown the galaxy, but their real achievements. Impossible, Vix sputtered, their translucent skin pulsing with patterns that indicated both fear and rage. Our scans showed exactly what we wanted them to show, Chen finished. That's humanity's first lesson for you, Commander. We survived our own wars, our own near extinctions, by learning to hide our strength until it was needed. The Xerix flagship's weapon arrays began to power up, crystal facets gleaming with gathered energy. Chen had expected this. Pride and fear were a dangerous combination, especially in species that believed themselves superior. All ships, defensive formation Delta, Chen ordered. Let them make the first move. Show them why challenging humanity was their second mistake. The Xeric strike came as a massive energy wave, designed to overload shields and short out electrical systems. It washed over the human fleet like water over stones, the quantum shields absorbing and redistributing the energy harmlessly into subspace. Lieutenant Park's voice came through the command network, calm and professional. No damage reported, Admiral. Shield efficiency at 99.8%. The Helios array is charged and ready. Chen nodded, watching as the Xeric ships began to shift formation, clearly preparing for a more substantial attack. Send the warning message. Give them one last chance. Her image appeared before the Xeric's fleet, projected not through conventional means, but through quantum entanglement, another technology they'd kept hidden. Commander Vix, you fired on our moon. You threatened our cities. You demanded our submission. We responded with patience, hoping you would recognize your error. Now, you face a choice. The massive screens showed the Xeric ships launching fighter craft, their crystalline hulls refracting sunlight in rainbow patterns. They were beautiful in their way and hopelessly outmatched. You can withdraw, Chen continued. Return to your confederation and spread the word that Earth is not to be threatened. Or you can continue this attack and learn why every potential invasion force that has secretly scanned Earth in the last 50 years has turned away. Vix's response came in the form of a full barrage from their entire fleet. Energy beams and plasma torpedoes streaked across space toward the human ships. Chen had expected nothing less. The Xeric's confederation had conquered dozens of worlds through overwhelming force. They knew no other way. All ships execute maneuver Theta, Chen ordered. Show them what we can really do. The human fleet moved with impossible precision, their AI cores coordinating movements that no organic crew could achieve. Quantum shields flared not just to defend but to redirect, catching the Xeric's weapons fire and channeling it through subspace corridors back toward its source. The Xeric's fleet's own energy weapons struck their shields, amplified and focused by human quantum technology. 3 of their smaller ships lost power immediately, their crystalline hulls cracking under the strain. Their shield frequencies are destabilizing, Park reported. The Helios array has a clear shot at their flagship. Chen watched the Xeric ships struggling to maintain formation, their supposedly superior technology failing against defenses they hadn't known existed. Hold the array. Send another message. Let's see if they can learn from their mistakes. But before she could transmit, new alarms blared across the command center. Multiple quantum signatures detected, Park announced. Xeric's reinforcements incoming. A lot of them. The space around Saturn's rings lit up as more crystalline ships emerged from hyperspace, not just a fleet this time, but an armada. At their center was a vessel that dwarfed even Vix's flagship, its hull pulsing with enough energy to shatter a small moon. The Eternal Dawn, Park identified. Their mobile command center, reserved for only the most significant conflicts. Chen's expression hardened. The Xerics weren't just attacking Earth now. They were committing their full military might to the battle. Pride and fear had driven them to escalate beyond any reasonable response. Very well, she said quietly. If they want to see humanity's full strength, we'll oblige them. Signal the Europa facilities, wake the Titan fleet, and tell Dr. Harrison, it's time to deploy the Lazarus Protocol. Throughout the solar system, hidden facilities began to power up. Ships that made the current fleet look primitive emerged from quantum storage, and beneath Europa's ice, something stirred. Humanity's ultimate defensive weapon, created for a day they had hoped would never come. The real battle for Earth was about to begin, and the Xeric's Confederation was about to learn why humanity's survival rate against extinction-level threats remained at 100%. Operation Stormbreaker. The Lazarus Protocol wasn't a weapon. It was a transformation. As the Xerix Armada positioned themselves for what they thought would be a decisive battle, the ice of Europa cracked. Beneath its frozen surface, thousands of quantum cores activated simultaneously, each one connecting to a network that spanned the solar system. Lazarus initialization at 60%. Dr. Sarah Harrison reported from her station deep within the Europa facility. Her dark hair was streaked with silver, evidence of the decades she spent developing humanity's ultimate defense system. Neural links are stable. The AI collective is accepting the integration. Admiral Chen watched as new data streams flooded her command displays. The Lazarus Protocol represented humanity's greatest technological achievement, a quantum AI network that could coordinate entire fleets with precision that bordered on precognition. The Eternal Dawn is launching fighters, Lieutenant Park reported. Energy signatures suggest they're equipped with matter dissolution beams. They're not trying to conquer anymore, Admiral. They're trying to exterminate. Chen nodded grimly. They've shown their true nature. Lazarus status. Integration complete, Harrison confirmed. All ships are now linked to the quantum network. The AI is eager. The human fleet began to move with impossible coordination, each ship becoming part of a greater whole. The Lazarus Protocol didn't just link their weapons and shields. It linked their very essence, creating a singular defensive entity guided by both human intuition and machine precision. The Xerix struck first, their crystalline fighters swarming toward Earth in waves of rainbow light. The Eternal Dawn's main weapon began to charge, its power readings exceeding anything humanity had yet encountered. They're targeting multiple population centers, Park announced, trying to force our surrender through civilian casualties. Chen's voice was cold as space itself. Show them why that was their final mistake. Execute Operation Stormbreaker. The quantum shield grid around Earth suddenly became visible, not just a defensive barrier, but a weapon in its own right. As the Xerix fighters approached, the grid pulsed with dark energy. Space itself seemed to twist, creating micro-corridors of quantum space that scattered the crystalline ships across half the solar system. Quantum corridors stable, Harrison reported. The AI is learning their attack patterns. Each defense is becoming more efficient. The Eternal Dawn fired its main weapon, a beam of concentrated plasma that could shear a planet in half. It struck Earth's quantum shield and simply vanished, redirected through artificial quantum space to emerge behind the Xerix fleet. 3 of their capital ships shattered before they could reinforce their rear shields. How? High Commander Vix's transmission was filled with genuine fear now. This technology cannot exist. Your species is too young, too primitive. That's your third mistake, Chen interrupted. You judge species by their age rather than their capability. Humanity hasn't spent its time conquering others. We've spent it preparing for threats like you. The Lazarus Protocol reached full power. Throughout the solar system, hidden quantum arrays activated. Space itself became humanity's weapon, twisting and folding according to equations that had taken generations to perfect. All ships, execute attack pattern Omega, Chen commanded. Show them what happens when humanity stops holding back. The human fleet moved as one organism, their black hulls seeming to bend light around them. Quantum torpedoes, weapons that could bypass conventional shields by shifting partially out of normal space, struck the Xerix fleet with surgical precision. Their crystalline hulls, so beautiful and seemingly indestructible, cracked under forces they had never been designed to withstand. Their fleet is falling back, Park reported, attempting to regroup near Mars orbit. But retreat was no longer an option. The Lazarus Protocol had mapped every possible escape route, its quantum calculations predicting and blocking each potential path. The Xerix found themselves trapped in a web of altered space, their advanced drives unable to break free. This is your final warning, Chen transmitted to the entire Xerix fleet. Surrender your ships, withdraw from Earth space, and spread the word. Humanity is not to be threatened, or continue this battle and face complete defeat. The Eternal Dawn's response was predictable. Another barrage of energy weapons, another attempt to overwhelm through sheer firepower. But against the Lazarus Protocol, against humanity's true capabilities, it was like trying to stop a tsunami with a paper fan. Their weapons are becoming less effective with each attack, Harrison noted. The AI is adapting faster than their tactical computers can generate new attack patterns. Chen watched as the massive Xerix command ship struggled against quantum forces it couldn't comprehend. They still don't understand. We didn't develop this technology to conquer. We developed it to survive, to ensure that no species could ever threaten Earth's existence. The battle continued, but it had ceased to be a contest of equals. The Lazarus Protocol coordinated the human fleet with perfect efficiency, each ship moving in concert with the others. Quantum weapons struck with precision that seemed impossible, guided by calculations that could predict the Xerix ship's movements before their commanders even gave the orders. As the Eternal Dawn's hull began to crack under sustained quantum bombardment, Chen prepared to offer surrender terms one final time. But new alarms cut through the command center. Multiple quantum ruptures detected, Park announced, his voice tense. Massive energy signatures. Admiral, they're calling in their entire home fleet. Over 3,000 ships incoming. Chen's expression didn't change. She had expected this. Pride and fear would drive the Xerix to commit everything they had rather than accept defeat. Very well. Signal the Titan facilities. Deploy the Phantom fleet, and tell Dr. Harrison, initiate the final phase of the Lazarus Protocol. As space itself began to tear open with the arrival of the main Xerix fleet, humanity's last and greatest secret was about to be revealed. The true test of survival was about to begin. The Liberation Front. The Phantom fleet emerged from quantum space like shadows taking physical form. These weren't just ships. They were the culmination of humanity's darkest fears and greatest innovations, vessels that existed partially in normal space and partially in quantum reality. Phantom fleet integration complete, Dr. Harrison announced, her voice tight with concentration. The Lazarus Protocol is adapting to the new quantum matrices. We're seeing efficiency levels beyond our projections. The Xerix home fleet filled the space around Mars, their crystalline ships forming patterns that would have been beautiful if they weren't meant for destruction. 3,000 vessels, the full might of their civilization, prepared to erase humanity from existence. But as they launched their first coordinated attack, something unexpected happened. Their weapons, powerful enough to shatter moons, passed harmlessly through the Phantom ships. The human vessels seemed to flicker between dimensions, becoming solid only when they chose to strike. Impossible. The Xerix Grand Admiral's transmission cut through all frequencies. Your ships violate the laws of physics themselves. No, Chen replied calmly. We just understand those laws better than you do. And now we understand something else about your empire. The Phantom fleet's sensors had penetrated deeper than any Xerix defense, revealing a truth that changed everything. Within the crystalline ships, mixed among the Xerix crews, were members of dozens of other species. Not allies, slaves, their neural systems bound to Xerix control matrices. You built your empire on the backs of those you conquered. Chen's voice carried a new edge of cold fury. Every species that wouldn't submit, you enslaved. How many civilizations have you destroyed? How many cultures have you erased? The Lazarus Protocol shifted its attack patterns instantly, its quantum eye adapting to this new information. The Phantom fleet's weapons struck with surgical precision, targeting control systems and slave matrices while avoiding areas with non-Xerix life signs. Lieutenant Park, Chen ordered, begin broadcasting on all frequencies, all languages. Tell every enslaved species on those ships, help is coming. Freedom is coming. The effect was immediate and devastating. Throughout the Xerix fleet, slaves began to fight their neural conditioning. Ships stopped responding to commands as their crews turned on their masters. The mighty empire began to fracture from within. They're launching their extinction protocols, Harrison reported, her screen showing desperate activity from the Xerix command ships. Neural toxins designed to kill their slaves rather than risk losing control. Not today. Chen's command was quiet but absolute. Execute Operation Prometheus. The Phantom Fleet released clouds of quantum nanites, microscopic machines that existed in multiple dimensional states simultaneously. They passed through hull plating as if it wasn't there, seeking out and neutralizing the toxins while dissolving the neural control implants that had kept thousands of beings enslaved. Aboard the Xerix ships, liberation turned to revolution. Species that had been conquered decades or centuries ago found themselves free, their suppressed knowledge and skills returning. Many had been warriors, scientists, and leaders before their enslavement. Now they turned those abilities against their former masters. The Xerix fleet is falling into chaos, Park reported, unable to keep the satisfaction from his voice. Multiple ships are reporting full crew rebellions. Their battle formation is collapsing. The Lazarus Protocol coordinated it all, using the Phantom Fleet to protect liberation forces while preventing the Xerix from either retreating or destroying their own ships. Humanity's greatest defense system had become a tool of liberation. Your empire ends today, Chen transmitted to the increasingly desperate Xerix command. But your species doesn't have to. Surrender now, release your slaves, and we can prevent further bloodshed. The response came in the form of antimatter weapons, the Xerix choosing to destroy their own ships rather than lose control. But even this last desperate gambit failed. The Phantom Fleet created quantum fields around the detonations, containing them in pocket dimensions where they could harm no one. Admiral Harrison's voice carried a note of awe. We're receiving transmissions from the liberated ships. They're offering alliance, not submission. Partnership. They want to help us prevent this from happening to anyone else. Chen watched as former slave species took control of Xerix vessels, their newly freed crews already organizing themselves into a coherent force. In trying to destroy humanity, the Xerix had instead created something unprecedented. A coalition of free peoples, united by their shared experience and determination to prevent future atrocities. Accept their offer, Chen ordered. And prepare to expand the quantum shield network. Earth won't just be defended by humanity anymore. We'll protect all species who choose freedom over tyranny. The battle wasn't over. The Xerix Empire still controlled thousands of worlds, and millions more remained enslaved. But as the Phantom Fleet prepared to expand its liberation operation beyond the solar system, one thing became clear. Humanity had not only survived this threat, they had transformed it into an opportunity for something greater. Dr. Harrison's voice cut through Chen's thoughts. Admiral, we're detecting massive quantum disturbances from the direction of Xerix space. They're central worlds. They're activating something big. Chen's expression hardened. The Xerix would rather destroy everything than lose control. The final battle would not be for survival alone, but for the future of every species in this part of the galaxy. All forces prepare for Phase 5, she commanded. The real war for liberation is about to begin. Legacy of Stars. The quantum disturbance from Xerix space wasn't a weapon. It was desperation made manifest. Their civilization's final protocol, the crystalline ascension. As the Phantom Fleet and its liberated allies prepared to advance, the Xerix homeworld began to transform. Energy readings are off the scale, Dr. Harrison reported, her hands flying over quantum interfaces. They're converting their entire star system into a crystalline matrix. Every planet, every moon, they're trying to merge their whole civilization into a single entity. Admiral Chen watched the sensor feeds with growing concern. The Xerix weren't just refusing to surrender. They were attempting to evolve beyond the need for surrender. Their crystalline technology, pushed to its absolute limit, was restructuring matter itself. They mean to become gods, Park whispered, watching as entire planets transformed into crystalline structures that pulsed with impossible energy. No, Chen corrected quietly. They mean to become monsters. This isn't evolution. It's the death throes of an empire that would rather destroy itself than accept change. The Lazarus Protocol's quantum AI projected the possible outcomes. If the transformation succeeded, the crystalline entity would possess enough power to threaten not just Earth, but every free world in the galaxy. The Xerics would achieve their goal of absolute dominion, not through conquest, but through transcendence. We can't let this happen. Harrison's voice was firm. But our weapons, even the Phantom Fleet, can't generate enough power to stop this level of transformation. Chen's expression remained calm, though her eyes reflected the weight of what she knew must be done. We didn't want to use this. Even after we developed it, we hoped we'd never have to reveal it. Lieutenant Park, transmit the awakening codes to Sol Facility 0. Deep within Mercury's core, in a facility that didn't officially exist even in humanity's secret records, something stirred. A technology so dangerous its very existence had been hidden from most of humanity's own leadership. The Star Whisperer is online, Harrison announced, a tremor in her voice. Admiral, are you sure? Once we do this, there's no going back. The galaxy will know what we're capable of. They need to know, Chen replied. Not just our power, but our restraint. How long we've had this capability, and how we chose not to use it until we had no other choice. The Star Whisperer wasn't a weapon in the conventional sense. It was a device that could communicate with stars themselves, treating their plasma as a vast quantum computer. It could suggest rather than command, influence rather than control. As the Xeric's crystalline transformation reached its peak, as their merged consciousness prepared to ascend to a higher plane of existence, humanity revealed its deepest secret. They had learned to talk to the very forces that powered the galaxy. Execute final protocol, Chen ordered. But remember, we're not here to destroy. We're here to preserve life, even if it means saving the Xerics from themselves. The Star Whisperer activated, its quantum signals reaching out to the Xeric sun. Not to destroy it, but to communicate with it. To remind it of its natural state, its true purpose. The star responded. The crystalline transformation began to reverse, not through violence or destruction, but through the fundamental forces of nature itself reasserting their proper order. The Xerics found their godhood slipping away, their transcendence unraveling not through defeat, but through cosmic law itself. It's working, Harrison reported, wonder in her voice. The crystalline matrix is dissolving. Their consciousness, they're being guided back to their original forms. Throughout the Xeric system, the transformed planets began to return to their natural states. The merged consciousness of the Xeric's empire fractured back into individuals, each one forced to confront the reality of what they had almost become. Open a channel, Chen ordered. To everyone. The Xerics, the liberated species, every world that can receive our signal. She took a moment to gather her thoughts, knowing these words would echo across the galaxy for generations to come. Today marks a turning point, she began. Not just for humanity, or for the Xerics, but for all sentient life in our galaxy. We've shown that power without wisdom leads to destruction. That evolution without compassion leads to extinction. But we've also shown there's another way. The Phantom Fleet held position as she spoke, their quantum-shifted forms a reminder of how far humanity had come, and how far they had chosen not to go. Earth extends an offer to all species, including the Xerics. Join us not as conquerors or conquered, but as equals. Help us build something new. A coalition of free peoples, bound not by force or fear, but by the shared understanding that the galaxy is vast enough for all of us to thrive. The responses came slowly at first, then in a flood. Former slave species, worlds that had lived in fear of the Xerics, and finally, incredibly, Xerics themselves. Individuals and groups who had opposed their empire's direction, but had been powerless to stop it. The quantum network is stabilizing, Harrison reported. The Lazarus Protocol is adapting to include the new allied signatures. We're already receiving technological exchanges from some of the liberated species. Chen nodded, watching as the future began to take shape. Humanity had revealed its greatest powers not to destroy or conquer, but to preserve and protect. They had shown the galaxy that true strength lies not in the ability to destroy worlds, but in the wisdom to know when not to. "Send word to Earth," she ordered. "Tell them Operation Starkiller is complete. And tell them to prepare for visitors. It's time we properly introduced ourselves to the galaxy." As the Phantom Fleet prepared to escort their new allies back to Earth, as the Xerics began the long process of rebuilding their society under the watchful eyes of those they had once enslaved, Chen reflected on how this had all begun. The Xerics had arrived at Earth expecting to find primitive humans ready for conquest. Instead, they had found something far more powerful, a species that had learned to harness the forces of nature itself, not through dominion, but through understanding. The stars themselves had witnessed humanity's choice, and in the centuries to come, the galaxy would remember this as the moment when everything changed. Not because of the power humanity revealed, but because of the power they chose not to use. The legacy of stars had begun, and this time, it would be written not by conquerors, but by those who chose to protect rather than destroy.